मल जसु जोदायक फलचारी, बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि, हरहु कलेश बेकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवारी सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरन बिराज सुबेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केशा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा बिराजे, कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा, विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे, रामचंद्र के काज सवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि संभाई। सहस बदन तुम्हरो जस गावे, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते, कबि कौबिद कहि सके कहते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा, राम मिलाय राजपत दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्त्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मैली मुख बाहि, जलधि लागी गए अचरज नाहि। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरणा, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सभारो आपे, तीनों लोक हाकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हरे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न धरहि हनुमत से ही सर्व सुख करहि। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूटहि बद्धि महा सुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होए सिद्ध साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तने संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो रे भाई सब संतन की जय। जय श्री राम, जय श्री कृष्ण, जय हनुमान। We are going to try and understand verse number 42, 43 and 44 in chapter 2 in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So that is going to be our endeavor today. But before we go into this endeavor, we have to realize that the key of all this is in our hand only. Whether we are able to understand, we are not able to understand, we want to go ahead with it, we do not want to go ahead with it. Everything is totally dependent on us. And a beautiful story, which I just read today morning, says that. It says, one king, he used to have the habit of, in the evening, when everything, all his work would be done, at night, he would use a secret passage to go to his minister's house, right? Kings have a lot of secret passages, right? They don't have to follow the tunnels and all. So he had a direct secret passage from the castle to the minister's house. So he would take the keys. Only he had the keys. So he'd take the keys. While he would leave the castle from that tunnel, he would lock the door and go to the minister's house. So while in the minister's house, what would they do? Both of them would drink. है ना? मदिरा पान करते थे. A way of their relaxation. So they would drink, and then at that time, the minister said, "Would you want me to drop you back?" The king said, No, I'm fine. I'll manage. I'm all right. But he was not. He was drunk. So he followed the passage and he reached his castle, and then he stood at the door. And when he stood at the door, he was wondering, how do I get in? He started banging the door. He started, pushing the door, but the door would not open. Now, the king panicked. He was drunk. His senses were not with him. And at the other side, the queen was standing. And the queen said, "My dear king, open the door. We can't open it from here. You can open it. You have the keys with you. Just turn the keys. I'll open the door. The rest will be taken care of. The guards are here. They'll carry you to your bed. The people are there to cook for you. We will rest you down on your bed. We will take care of you. But you have to open the door." The queen said, "You have the keys. Turn the keys. Find the keys from your pocket. Open the door and then come in." However, the king did not understand. He did not even realize that the keys are in his pocket in spite of being told again and again. And he started panicking. He's still panicking. He could not enter that door. And the queen kept telling him, "Just turn the keys. Just turn the keys." However, he could not. Why? Because he was drunk. In spite of being told, in spite of knowing probably somewhere in his subconscious that the keys are with me, he did not turn the knob. He could not even pick up the key and take it out. it reminds me of us. The key is in our hands. We can turn the knob, open the door, and everything will be taken care of. But we are so drunk. How are we drunk? We are drunk because of the beautiful Maya. Everything that we see around us intoxicates us. And because of that, we are so utterly drunk that the fact that once I take out the key, I open the door, I will be out of this dungeon and I'll be into that divine realm. We want to reach the divine realm. Probably we don't even want to reach the divine realm. We just want to be happy, right? Ultimately, nowadays, there is a new trend. We should work towards being happy. That's a good thing. We just want to be happy. But we do not realize that that is not momentary happiness that is waiting for us. It is Chir Anand that is waiting for us. But we have to get over the state of drunkenness. We have to get over our Trishna, our desires, our asaktis, all the attachments, which is intoxicating us. Come back to our senses, distance ourselves, pick up the key and open the door. Very simple. And during that drug stage, we don't even realize that we are in the dungeon. हमें realization ही नहीं होता. Now, Dhruv, we all know about Dhruv, right? Raja Dhruv. He had made a slight error when he was doing his tapasya as a child. He was just 5 years old. So the error he made was, when the Lord came, he asked for material things and not for mukti or bhakti or the Lord himself. And then the minute he did this, God said, Tatastu, right? And he started weeping. He said, what have I done? The Lord was in front of me and what have I asked? Right? So later on, the story goes, there is a detailed story about his rule in the kingdom, but eventually he got a Dhruv Tara. We all know about Dhruv Tara, right? So this Dhruv Tara is where he has all the opulences. He's sitting there, but if you go near that star, you realize that he's not sitting on his throne. He's sitting in a corner behind the throne on the floor and weeping. Weeping, why? He said, when I had the opportunity, I did not ask for the Lord. And see, now where am I stuck? Dhruv Tara is an opulent place. So now this Dhruv had an opportunity to get somebody to the Dhruv Tara. So from up, he was looking down and he saw pigs. And he felt a lot of pity for the pigs. Why? They are, in the mud, in their own filth, eating their own filth, living a miserable life. So he said that, I have to salvage them. So he sent people. Now these stories, the same episode has been narrated in a different way also. So he sent some people, he said, okay. Or he came down himself and he told the pigs. He said, why don't you come with me? The father pig probably. And he said, come with you where? He said, there is Dhruv Tara. It is opulent. It is beautiful. He described the magnitude of the magnificence. Right? But this pig could not understand. And then he said, okay, let me ask my wife. So he went to his wife and he said, there is somebody who has come to take us to Dhruv Tara. He's saying it is better than heaven. Should we go? The wife said, can you go and ask whether we'll get the filth, whether we'll get the mud, whether we will get all that we are used to over here in Dhruv Tara. So again he came and he asked, will we get all this filth and mud and all that we are so used to in that Dhruv Tara? He said, no, you would not get that. You will get the luxuries. You'll be very happy. Trust me, come with me. But what happened? He went back to his wife and she said, no. If we are not getting all this, we are not going. What's the point? He came and he said, I am not going with you. Why? Because our limited understanding thinks that what we are reveling in right now is ultimate bliss. We can't even comprehend what the scriptures are trying to tell us. And that is where the entire state of inertia comes. Because our सीमित बुद्धि है. Our buddhi is very सीमित. Unfortunately. क्या करूं? So over here, in the previous verse also we talked about one simple thing. The emphasis was on Vyavasayatmika buddhi, isn't it? That was the emphasis. And for what? Prabhu Prapti. And what should we avoid? Bahu buddhi, where we have various branches of our buddhi going here, going there for material desires and material gains. So in the following verse, they are telling us the reason why we have this kind of a scattered buddhi. Why aren't we able to focus our buddhi on that divine? Just like the pig or the drug king, we are unable to focus our buddhi and unable to break the shackles of Maya and say, no matter how enticing the Maya is, I am not going to be tempted. That is my focus and I am going to move towards it. What stops us? And that is what the following verses are going to help us understand. But these following verses have to be taken very, very carefully, because even a slightest bit of a twist can make us demean something very magnificent. So the objective of these verses are not to demean anything. That is why many a times we see that the verses in Gita or verses in our scriptures are twisted and presented to us in a very derogatory fashion. So why? Because they can be twisted if we are not careful. So over here in verse number 42, we'll just read it first and then we will go into the depth of a few words before moving on to understand the verse. So, verse number 42. Yami mam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipakshitaha vedavadarata partha nanyadastiti vadinaha. Then verse number 43. Kamatma, apologies, my nose is a bit long. Kamatmanah swargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogeshwar gati prati. Then verse number 44. Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya prahata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhona vidhiyate. Now, we will not go into the meaning of the entire verse first. First, we will take one word at a time. Veda Vada Rata. What are they meaning by Veda Vada Rata first? Then we'll go on to Kamatmanah. What do they mean by that? Then Swargapara. What is the meaning of Swargapara? And then Bhogeshwarya Gati. Bhogeshwarya Gati. That is the fourth thing that we will take. Because if we suddenly take the entire verse together, we'll get misled. Now, what is Veda Vada Rata? What is Ved? What is Veda Vada Rata? That is in the verse number 42, the second line, the first word. What is Veda Vada Rata? What are the Vedas? Do we know what our Vedas comprise of? If even anybody does, kindly share. There are 4 Veds, we know that, right? Now, the Veds are derived into various sections. So let's go into those sections to understand why they have come up with the word Ved. Ved is Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Sam Ved and Athar Ved. And then Yajur Ved is finally divided into Shukla Ved and Shukla Yajur Ved and Krishna Yajur Ved, right? So now, after that, what is each and every Ved? Like right now, these 5 Veds, they have a subdivision further. So now these 5 subdivisions are mantras or the hymns, then the brahmanas, the explanation of the mantras and the rituals, right? And the third, now major division before this would be Karmakand and Jnanakand. Each Ved has Karmakand, each Ved has Jnanakand. So mantra samhitas and hymns, and then brahmanas or the explanation of the mantras and the rituals, right? Now the third is the philosophical interpretation of the rituals, right? And the fourth is the Upanishads. Now the essence and the knowledge portion of the Ved. So these are 4 major divisions in each and every Ved that we have. Now all these are further understood based on different ashrams. That is why it is said, right? Initial stage, the children should be given the knowledge of Veds. They used to go to the Gurukuls, but right now we wait till our hair become white, and then we realize Adha to chala gaya. So initially, when we are in the Brahmachari stage, right? According to them, it is up to the age of 25, right? At that time, the mantras and the hymns, the mantra samiti, the hymns, the praise of the Vedic gods and all have to be understood, have to be recited, have to be done. Right? So at that time, this is the time where the studies of the first portion has to be done. Right? Now the second portion study is mainly for the Grihastha ashram, 25 to 50 according to them. At that time, the yagnas are done because the Grihastha have the opportunity to do yagnas. Brahmacharis normally don't. So the yagnas are done at that time. The sacrifices are done at that time. Post which, when you go on at a little higher, when you are in the Vanaprastha ashram stage, what do? You try to understand the philosophical interpretations of the same sacrifices or the rituals that we have learned before. And by the end of it, that is the study of Upanishads, right? So this can be done together, but the implementation happens as per the ashrams, right? We are supposed to transit from one ashram to another. Nowadays, the problem is the brahmachari is not a brahmachari anymore. We see what is happening all around us. A grihast is not interested in yagna yagadi at all. And vanaprastha ashram never happens to us, right? We never leave the grihast ashram. Leaving the grihast ashram does not mean that we leave our houses, but mentally we are grihastis all the time. We do not detach, right? Our children grow up, we think about their children. We are always attached to worldly things. We are unable to detach ourselves. Vanaprastha is a transition between the grihast ashram to the sannyas ashram where you're totally gone. Vanaprastha ashram gives you the time to distance yourself gradually. We never enter that stage because we don't want to distance. So our Veds have knowledge which can be used in every phase. Now the other problem that we are facing, or at that time when Ved Vyas Ji came. Now who is Ved Vyas Ji? We know how he was born, right? Ved Vyas Ji is the one who created the division of the Vedas. Isn't it? He divided the Vedas into various parts. Why? Because he realized that the knowledge and the ability that we had in Satyug or Treta Yuga had diminished. Right? That is what I have understood. And then he helped us understand the Veds a little simply. And he wrote the Mahabharata, he wrote the Purans, he explained everything. Now the question might arise in our minds, right? That how is it possible, right, that he had such a divine span of life? And then we should also remember that our yugas are cyclical in nature. Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Kalyug. Satyug, Dwapar, Treta, Dwapar, Kalyug. It goes on and on and on. So, Ved Vyas Ji, is he born? When does he die? What happens? What is his Ayu? Right? If we try to understand from the point of view of our age span, whatever he has presented in front of us will look very unrealistic. However, when we are in Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, when we are talking about Sarg and Visarg, we talk about different loks, right? We talk about various loks, and there are 7 upper loks, 7 lower lok. We can say that these upper loks and the lower loks have a name, like, and beach mein there is bhulok or mrityu lok. Bhu, bha, swa. Now these swarg tak, bhu, bha, swa, these 3 lok get destroyed every time Brahmaji sleeps. But the lokas above this and the lokas below this don't. They have a different age span. So now these sages, okay, many a times they always say that I will understand today why they say they do not want to go to Swarglok. But they can exist in any plane of existence and descend as per their wish. Even if they are in our plane of existence, their Ayu does not depend on what we, Ayu or age does not depend on what we comprehend as age. So we talk about Chiranjeevis also, right? So they live on. So Ved Vyasji, we cannot say that he dies, he is born. Many people say that probably Ved Vyasji is also a designation, just like Indra is a designation. We cannot refute it, we do not want to refute it, but Ved Vyasji can have a long existence also because he is an elevated sage. So once we understand the functioning, okay, so this is destroyed, the upper loks and the lower loks, they don't get destroyed when the mini pralayas happen, and depending on each lok, the destruction is different. If somebody is located in Brahmalok, the pralay or the destruction will happen when the age of Brahmaji gets over, right? And what if he is beyond that lok? So these sages can have existence and can be there for a longish duration. Very difficult for us to comprehend because we have been conditioned to see only what we see, that's Bhulok, as the only lok and the only form of existence. It is not. There are subtle forms of existence which are always persistent. So Ved Vyasji is the one who wrote these scriptures, right? Why am I saying that? Ved Vyasji wrote Mahabharata, and Ved Vyasji was the one who wrote the Puranas also, right? And he was the one who divided the Vedas also, like one person. So Veds have 2 portions, Karma Kand majorly and Gyan Kand. When we talk about Karma Kand, in Karma Kand it is very simple. They'll give you this is the ritual, this is the Falashruti. If you do this, you will get this. If you do this, you will go to that heaven. If you do this, you can attain this Siddhi. If you do this, you can attain that kind of a Siddhi. A lot of Karma Kand mein, it is very easy. You will see, okay, I want to get wealth, what do I do? Tantra karna hai, Shakti chahiye, what do I do? Lots of mantras, lots of rituals, lots of things is there. And by those, you can fulfill a lot of your desires. You can have a superior birth. You can have a dwelling time in heaven also. It is as per your choice, as per the tapasya, as per the way, ritual you are conducting, you can get. That time sacrifices also used to happen in Satyug and all, because it is said in some of the scriptures that when a Raja would sit and do a havan or a yagna, and when he would offer with the permission of the animal that I'm offering you, there was a promise that was made that after this yagna, next birth of yours would be a superior birth. Right? However, if that does not happen, you come and you offer me in your next birth. That kind of a confidence used to be there. The Devas used to descend, and we have Trishanku and all we have heard, right? By the power they could be raised to go to Swarg also with the body. We have, these things have been mentioned many times. It is hard to comprehend, but the Ved have the power to get us whatever we want, right? But, so it is like, when they are saying Veda, Vada, Rata, we'll understand later why. And Veds have Karma Kand, rituals. We can fulfill all our worldly desires. We can get Swarg. We can get a better birth. We can get whatever we want by reading those beautiful verses. Take care. Full stop on Ved for now. Just a brief understanding. Then he says, Kamat Manaha. Kamat Manaha, what is it? What does he mean by Kamat Manaha? Kamat Manaha is when we have desires. What kind of desires? Kamnaएं. I want this, I want that, I want, a better life, I want better things. Simple kamnas. There is no rocket science again over here. वे कामनाओं में इतने रचे पचे होते हैं, we get so involved in our desires and what we want that we are unable to distinguish ourselves from our desires. They become just one together. Those are the kamnas. We are one with our desires. And what are they saying over here? Very important point hai. And they feel that the people who do not have desires, right, are unable to act in this world. Like Swayam. So, unless and until you have desires, unless and until you have a passion, unless and until you want things, I am so, I'm so excited, I want to do this, I am so looking forward to it. Unless and until you are so involved in your desires, kamnaएं, right? You are unable to act in this world. That is the belief of the people who have kamna, right? But what is desires? What are our wants? What are our kamnas? They go up and down, right? And they change also. But the self never changes, does it? So, the self is not equal to the kamnas. The self और kamna, ये दोनों सर्वथा अलग-अलग है. These are two different things. Right? But the people who are so engrossed in their desires, they forget that there is a difference between their desires and them. They become one with the desires. And then what happens? They start reveling in those desires and they just want to get more and more. Better life, better birth. I want Swarg. And then what happens? With these kamnas, they want a heaven. What do they want in a heaven? They say ki maybe if I do this ritual, if I do that ritual, I'll get heaven. Right? So a lot of rituals are done and it is possible. But the thing with heaven is, it is not a permanent dwelling place. For instance, just imagine, we are traveling from one place to another and we have to board the aeroplane. By chance, we have a business class or a first class ticket. So when we reach the airport, oh, lovely service, we go and sit in the lounge, we are relaxing, eating whatever we want, the royal treatment is being given to us. Now this royal treatment continues, we go into the aircraft, the air hostesses are there, serving us, fulfilling all our desires, whatever we want, with gifts and everything. And we are like, oh my God, this is so amazing. This is such a lovely place to be. And you're just getting used to being there. When suddenly there is an announcement that the journey has been completed and now we will be landing in Bombay after half an hour. What now? Journey has been completed. We'll be landing in Bombay after half an hour. But we were just getting used to the comfort and the luxury that was being offered, right? But Bombay mein to I'll be going back to my house. I've not even called the maid yet. There is so much of work to be done. What happened? That is Swarg. Temporary dwell. All the rituals, all the jap, tap, niyam, whatever, इसमें they say, right? ये स्वर्ग परा पद से उन मनुष्यों की बात कही गई है जो वेदों में शास्त्रों में वर्णन स्वर्ग आदि लोकों में आसक्ति रखते हैं. They have this attachment, I want to go to heaven. We say, right, if you're good, you'll go to heaven. If you're bad, you'll go to hell. Unfortunately, we condition our children, telling them that heaven is the ultimate place to be. It is a temporary dwell. So it is simple. So then the aircraft lands and out you go. You cannot stay, right? Even if you force yourself, no, I have paid so much. No, you can't stay there. After a while, they'll pick you up and throw you out if you insist on staying there. So this is what is Swarga Para. When you have the asakti to go to Swarg and you are doing everything to reach there. Now, Kamna, we understood. And Swarga Para, we understood. Veds also, we understood. Right? Now we are going Bhogeshwarya. Bhogeshwarya Gatim. That is verse number 43 and the second last word. Bhogeshwarya Gatim. What is Bhogeshwarya Gatim? What is Bhog? And what is Aishwarya? Yeah? We have to understand this. Bhog is simply when we use our senses, right? कर्म इंद्रियां होती हैं, ज्ञान इंद्रियां होती है. Simply you can put over here, they say शब्द, स्पर्श, रूप, रस और गंध. शब्द, स्पर्श, feeling, रूप, right? And ras, the taste and the smell. We use all our indriyas to what? To revel in bhog, right? Bhog. I want to wear nice things. I want to eat good things. I want to live in a very, very beautiful place. I want to watch things that, entice me and make me forget about whatever is happening. They say, right? So Netflix is very cheap, but you're paying for it with your time, your lifetime. So be very careful of what you're watching and what you're taking away from it. Just a joke. So that is bhog, right? So bhog ke liye kya chahiye hota hai? When you want all these things to fulfill your sense desires. Now again, we clearly know, right? Human birth is not for bhog, it is for yog, right? But because animals also do bhog, right? Eat, drink, be merry, mate. If we do the same thing, unfortunately, we have misused the superior birth that we have got. So, bhog, Aishwarya, what is Aishwarya? The wealth and the prosperity that we gather. We have seen, don't we see people who are 75, 80, they have enough and more, but they can't stop. Gathering, kya karoge isko? 10 generations come, ahead will eat. What about you? No, they'll keep gathering. They can't even stop. Aishwarya. I want name, I want fame, I want a lot of money, I want to become rich. It is like an addiction. They don't stop. Why? Because unko bhog chahiye, and to fulfill that desire for what you want Aishwarya. Money, prosperity, then you want applauses, all this. And for that, what can you do? We can do something very important. We do a lot of prayers, right? Prabhu, pass kara dena. Simple. We start as children. God, I've worked very hard, make sure I do well. Again, simple things. I hope my child does well. I hope he gets his interview selection. Simple things. I hope, my children's desires are fulfilled. We start like that, from the children. Or jab haath jod ke jao. Exam se pehle, for sure the child will go to the mandir and bow his head and go. And there will be kumkum, tilak, everything. Roj nahi. Why? Because that time there is no bhogichha, right? There is no desire. So, and it is okay. God says no problem. In Veds, we have provisions for everything you want. You want worldly things, you'll get it. You want heavens, you'll get it. You want to ascend to a certain plane, you can. You have the choice. And over here, unfortunately, we make a asuric choice. What is asur? Very beautifully Ram Sukdas ji has said, asu naam prano ka. Pran hota hai as. And the one who does not want to leave his pran is asur. What does he say? असु नाम प्राणों का है और उन प्राणियों को जो बनाए रखना और उन प्राणों को जो बनाए रखना चाहता है, उन उन प्राणों को जो बनाए रखना चाहता है, उन प्राणों क्षण परायण लोगों का नाम असुर है. Those people who want to retain their pran always, हमें अमर रहना है, हमें मरना नहीं है. We fear death, and after that also we want to be reborn. We want to be in the heaven. We always want to hold on to these pran. We were very afraid of merging. These are asurs. Simple definition. असुर. असु मतलब ना प्राण को जो बनाए रखना चाहता है वो असुर है. असु मतलब प्राण, and the one who wants to hold on to it is an asur. Beautiful definition he has given. So now with these three things, we are going to open up what the verse is trying to tell us. The first verse is very simply saying, the person, a viveki manushya, the person who does not use his vivek, and he looks into these Veds, okay, for his own benefit. The flowery words of the Veds, right? What are the flowery words? See, they are not demeaning the Veds anywhere. We are selectively choosing what we want from the Veds, right? Ved has a gamut of thing, ritualistic thing, unritualistic thing, ज्ञान भी है उसमें, rituals भी है, कर्म कांड भी है. कर्म कांड में भी you have a choice why you are doing that karma कांड, right? So over here they are saying the people who choose these Veds for their benefit, over here, they get enticed by the flowery language. कि तुम ये करोगे तो you will get this. When you do this, you will go to heaven. Those rituals that you keep doing for the benefit of your mundane desires. This, and you get tempted by the flowers. See, उसमें कोई फल नहीं है. There is no fruit over there. Simply you are getting tempted by the flowers. There is no fruit over there. What are they saying? संसार और भोगों का वर्णन है, राइट? इसमें वाणी में संसार और भोगों का वर्णन है. उस पुष्पित वाणी को कहा करते हैं. सो ओवर हियर दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कि भोग और संसार का वर्णन है. यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट भोग, योर डिजायर्स, व्हाट यू वांट. यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हेवेंस, एंड दीज आर फ्लावरी लैंग्वेजेस व्हिच आर रिटन इन द वेद्स, where you do karma kand and ritualistic, you chant so that ऐसे करोगे, and after everything there is a falashruti. Be very careful. ये करने से ये होगा, ये करने से ये होगा. You can read, if you do this you'll go to this particular heaven, if you do this you'll get this siddhi. Everywhere falashruti, falashruti, falashruti. So if you are reading those Veds with like a aviveki manushya just to be benefited in this plane or the swarg plane, it is a big loss, isn't it? It is a total loss. So are the Veds to be blamed? No. They are giving you what you desire. They are powerful. Veds, why did we talk about Ved? Because they have distinctions, they have divisions, and the purpose of the rituals, we have to understand the purpose of the rituals is not an end in itself. We make those rituals an end in itself and say, okay, I did this tapasya, I got this phala, right? But is that the objective? No. Why is it that every phase is benefited by the Vedas? Because the cleansing is supposed to happen. They are a means to the end. What is the end? End is Prabhu Prapti only. But what happens to us? Over here they say, Yam imam pushpitam vacham. We get so enticed by the beautiful flowery language that we get trapped. And then we say there is nothing beyond this, and we just seek the current benefit. We are unable to progress. It is very beautifully written by Chinmay Gurudev ji, right? Now, when was this? Again, we have to go to the context when we are understanding Gita. When did Mahabharata happen? When did Ved Vyas write? After it happened, it is Itihas, right? And then he started writing, right? He is talking about what Sri Krishna has said and he is writing. At that time, what is the scenario? Now imagine the scenario. Satyug nahi hai, right? Treta nahi hai. Mahabharata happened in Dwapar. The decline of the human brain has already happened. They are not doing tap, they are not doing jap, they don't have the capacity to do any austerities. Right? And these Vedas are still being taken, but the meaning is taken in the wrong way. Where these were the rituals and the karma kand was supposed to cleanse you and move you to a higher plane where you can do upasana and understand the Upanishads and move on to sannyas ashram, people got stuck here. And they said this is karma kand and we can get whatever we want because it is written in the scriptures. So this is all there is to it. What they say is anyataha na asti, which means nanya dastiti. Nanya dastiti ka matlab hai anyata na asti. There is nothing beyond this. And what are they saying? Vedavadarata partha nanya dastiti vadinaha. They say that Veds and the ritualistic worship is only to get benefits right now. There is nothing beyond this. Why? Because we have declined so much that we have forgotten that the purpose, the ritualistic gets involved in the means without aspiring for the goal. Thus, an expounder of transcendental and infinite, Sri Krishna here laughing at those who mistake the means for the end. Sri Krishna is laughing and mocking the people who are caught in this. They are saying ritualistic portion is the means and the Vedantic portion deals with the realization through meditation is the end. The karma kand prepares the mind to single pointedness when it is pursued without specific desire. Such a prepared mind alone is fit for the steady contemplation over the Upanishads. So, the purpose is lost, Sri Krishna is saying, and people are just getting, why? Scattered. Kya Ved mein hai na, so I'll do this, I'll get this. I'll do this, I'll get this. And the Pandits also encourage during that time, oh yes. What do you want? Oh, this is what you want. Come, we'll do this puja and you'll get it. And what is supposed to be done nishkam, right, is being done by sakam vritti. That I want to get this, so I am doing the ritual. It is supposed to be done nishkam. I do not want anything, yet I am doing this so that I get purified. So Shri Krishna is laughing. Ved Vyasji is saying, aise mat karo. Don't degrade it to that level. Don't degrade yourself to that level. None of the things mentioned in the Ved or our scriptures are for fulfillment of this plane or the Swarglok. They are meant to ascend. And then he says, why do we do all this? Why do we follow this and understand the flowery language and get enticed by it? Kamatmanaha swargapara janma karma phalapradam. What is this? Phalapradam. So why do we do this? Kamna. What are the kamnas we talked about in detail? That we want desires in this world. We want to go to heaven and a particular kind of heaven. And we want to keep rolling in the cycle of life and death. We do not want to give away. We are asurs, right? We do not want to give away our prana. Why? Abhi nahi. So, theek hai, heaven, then we'll come down again because we don't remember, right? And we'll say, how does it matter to us? I am not going to remember how many times, how many births, what has happened to me. You remember. Subconsciously, we all suffer. Sit alone and you will know. Sometimes you'll wonder, why is it that I am getting so disturbed? Why? Because of the cycle of birth and that you have taken. Again and again and again and again, thak jata hai. The soul gets tired. It seeks liberation. But we get carried away. Then what is it? Kriya Vishesha Bahulam Bhogeshwarya Gatim Prati. Kriya Vishesha Bahulam. And what is it? We do a lot of kriyas. Why? To fulfill our bhogicha and the desire for Aishwarya, and we carry on like that. So this verse is not condemning our scriptures. This verse is condemning us and our intentions. If we read it just like that, we might end up saying कि वेद में ritualistic worship है, karma kand hai, and we might demean our great scriptures. No. It has a wide spectrum of things. We choose as per our wish. That will is there with us, isn't it? So, if we would have just read it like this, we would have felt that Sri Krishna is laughing on the Veds. He is not. Why did we talk about Ved Vyasji? Ved Vyasji wrote the Mahabharata. Ved Vyasji has written, segregated the Vedas. If he had not done it, if he did not feel they were worthwhile, would he have segregated them for us to understand? So why would Sri Krishna, and Veds we say are the divine word, right? So nobody over here in these verses is demeaning the Vedas. Be very careful. They are not even demeaning Karma Kand. Karma Kand in itself is not bad. Ritualistic worship in itself is not bad. But when our intention becomes what? Kamatmanaha Swargapara. When our intention becomes, and Bhogeshwarya Gatim. When our intention begins to fulfill our desires and reach Swarg, no lok beyond that, and when we are just seeking Bhog and Aishwarya, when we are seeking these four things, yes, when we are seeking this, our intention is wrong, and we do those ritualistic things, they are not wrong. They are as pure and clean. We do not understand how to use them, right? And it happens to us, right? With simple things. In our house also, if you give something to a child and the child does not know how to use it, he might just mess it up, right? And then we'll say, isko aise nahi, aise kaam mein liya jata hai. It is as simple as that. You are giving the Vedas to a toddler who has no understanding of the prowess and the power of that scripture, and they are misusing it for their own selfish benefit. So over here, Shri Krishna is laughing at us, not at the Vedas. Very, very important. And then he said, Bhogeshwarya prashaktanam taya prahat chetasam Vivasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. Very simple, he says. Ki this is the reason why having a Vivasayatmika buddhi. What was Vivasayatmika buddhi? Single pointed focused mind is not happening because people are just reveling in Bhog and Aishwarya, and they are so aviveki that they are not able to move beyond it. Their antakaran, right? Their very being has been robbed by what? Bhog and Aishwarya. Our antakaran, our very being has been robbed by it. And simply look at us. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? We have to, see, we can be in denial, right? We can see that nahi, aisa nahi hai. This is a very simple verse. It actually, these verses have to be read and then you have to do manan. I think these are verses which can stop you from sleeping at night also. Yesterday, when I read these 3 verses, learning how to chant is a different thing. But the meaning, I said, why are they talking about Ved in that light, right? So this question should come to your mind when you're reading these verses. We cannot just say, okay, this is what it is said, and then we laugh at our script. No. Then you go into the depth of what everything means. Then you realize, okay, this is what they are indicating. So once these verses have been read and a basic understanding is there, then start churning it. It has to churn so much so that suddenly at night you'll get up and say, oh, I think I get what they are saying. It's like mathematics, right? When you get a problem and you can't solve it, we say, right, sleep over it. And suddenly in your dreams only the problem will be solved and you say, oh, this is what it means. But that churning has to happen when we are reading the scriptures. So in a nutshell, very simply put, they are saying we have the liberty of using our scriptures to uplift our existence or to keep rolling in the mud and the muck that we are used to. It is our choice. We have been given the entire gamut of things. We have the keys. Now, अब हम ही दरवाजा नहीं खोलना चाहें तो इसमें किसकी गलती है, right? And why is this being written? Because even now we really follow karma kand in the wrong way, unfortunately, and we do not even feel guilty about doing all this. Why? And it is very simple to understand. They are saying all these scriptures, all the karma kand, all the rituals are meant for upliftment, for you to move ahead beyond Swarglok. Just imagine, Bhu Bhua Swarg. Swarg also goes through dissolution. There are other lokas. That is why all the sages will say, my journey is not through Swarglok. My journey is beyond. No sage will say, I want to go to Swarga. Because it is nothing. It is also Bhog only over there, right? There is nothing. Whatever we have over here, an extension of that enjoyment is there. There is just a promise that there won't be any sorrow. Once everything is done, you'll be kicked out. And then you start again. So these 3 verses, we will delve deeper later again. But this is the crux of these 3 verses. First they say, very simply, I'll just repeat again. The flowery language of the Vedas are taken by the avivekis. In a very crude way, he'll say the stupid person takes the flowery, language of the Veds and he does not understand why the karma kand is there, and he starts using it for his own benefit, selfish needs like kamnas, swarg prapti, and then he keeps going in circles in life and birth and is never able to cross the mundane ocean of existence because he is trapped by bhog and aishwarya. And because of his being trapped by the desires and the yearning for wealth and prosperity, he is not able to focus his mind on that one divine. Bas, this is what it is saying. And that's it. And over here, Ram Sukhdas ji, beautifully, when he's saying, he says, all this, whatever we get in this world, okay, they are sadhans, they are means. ये sadhan samagri hai. God has given us a good life. God has given us a comfortable life. Very cooperating, husband probably, who is letting you move on the path of spirituality. He has given you enough food on your plate. You have enough money to be able to buy whatever you want. This is not bhog samagri. This is not a platter for your bhog, okay? Everything has been given to me. जैसे होता है ना, there are some people say everything has been given to me for my use. Why shouldn't I use it? And why shouldn't I enjoy? No. This is sadhan samagri. There is a big difference between bhog samagri and sadhan samagri. We mistake it. We have been given things for sadhan, not for bhog. The minute we are able to understand the distinction, we are not going to misuse the time, the space, the luxuries that have been given to us. We are going to use them for our upliftment. So this is what it is saying, very, very simply. Nothing else is being said. And why are we talking about all this? We are talking about all this in the light of Karma Yoga, right? Why are we discussing all this? Because they are telling us how Karma Yoga is to be done. Karma Yoga कैसे करते हैं? What did they say? Before we close, we'll just revisit. Karma Yoga simply says three things, right? It says स्वार्थ, अभिमान और फलिच्छा का त्याग करके दूसरे के हित के लिए कर्म करना स्वधर्म है, right? Swarth. And when we talked about these three statements, when we talk about Kam, Swarg Prapti, Bhog and Aishwarya, what are we talking about? Kam, we are talking about Swarth, we are talking about Phalicha, and we are talking about our own Abhiman, right? Our own existence. It's all selfish. With this, you cannot do Karma Kand. It is not for that. We are going against the principles of Karma Yoga. And the end result of Gyan Yoga and the beginning of Karma Yoga is very simple. Over here again we had read this at the end of Gyan Yoga. It says, अगर साधक का शरीर से माना हुआ संबंध सर्वथा मिट जाता है. So in Gyan Yoga, what are they telling you? You are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the thought, you are nothing, you are that, you are a witness, right? That is Gyan Yoga. Now, Karma Yoga has a different philosophy. You act and you can get the same result that you'll get by detachment, right? Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, after the knowledge, you get detached. Karma Yoga, you start with that feeling that no, one Nishchayatmak Buddhi, I want to reach that Lord, right? So, the result of both is the same. What will happen? And how can we check whether it is happening to us or not? This is the litmus test for both. It says, अगर साधक का शरीर से माना हुआ संबंध मिट जाता है, राइट, तो उसके द्वारा अशुभ कर्म तो नहीं होंगे. सी, फर्स्ट पॉइंट, अशुभ कर्म नहीं होंगे. दैट मीन्स वी विल नॉट बी डूइंग एनीथिंग नेगेटिव टू एनीबडी, राइट? पर शुभ कर्म में भी आसक्ति नहीं रहेगी. We will not harm anybody, will not do anything negative to anybody, but at the same time, that asakti, that attachment to good work will also not be there. You will be doing good in the society. You'll be acting in the society. You'll be a proactive member in the society, giving to the society. But there won't be no attachment to that work also. So you won't do negative, but you won't be attached to the good also. There won't be that. Some people have that asakti. You can feel it. You'll know. Even in spite of doing the good work, you won't be attached to that work. Very simply, I'll give a very simple example. When we see a lot of people doing charity, right? Some people continue doing it when it is not needed because they get so attached to the glories that it is getting, the attention that it is getting, or probably, they just get attached to that particular action. Although it is good, getting attached is not right. So they are saying you won't do anything negative. This is a litmus test of where we have reached. You won't do anything negative for sure, but you won't be attached to the good also. Then, सार्थक चिंतन में भी आसक्ति नहीं रहेगी. Neither will be attached to good work. उसके द्वारा you won't be doing any negative thought. Negative thought, demeaning somebody, talking negative about somebody, or, wanting somebody to fall or wanting somebody to have a bad day. Nothing of that negative thought will come into your mind. However, to have positive thought also, you won't be very much interested in that kind of a thought also. ऐसा नहीं कि I want to think positive about, नहीं, वो भी नहीं रहेगा. So सार्थक चिंतन में भी आसक्ति नहीं रहेगी. There will come a point कि ठीक है ना, you won't have कि सार्थक चिंतन करें, ये करें, you are attached to that positive thought and on ना. You're there. You won't have any negative thoughts, but you won't be running after positive thoughts also. Right? And चंचलता तो नहीं रहेगी. Of course, you'll see yourself mellow down. Before you know, you'll calm down eventually. पर समाधि में, स्थिरता में भी आसक्ति नहीं रहेगी. You won't be running after samadhi or sthirtha also. This is a litmus test because there cannot be any sway. You will just be there. No negative, but no running after positive act also. You will be doing it, but there is no attachment. No negative thought. There is no positive thought also which I am attached to. I am not chanchal anymore, like you're jumpy and bubbly and it's like a rajasic pravarti. No, but you're not that yearning to go into samadhi also. You just are. We feel that negative नहीं होगा तो positive हो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. We have to be very careful. So कर्म योग में भी it is not that negative नहीं होगा. Very good. Negative तो करना ही नहीं है. Positive करते हुए भी you won't be attached to the action. Positive thought होते हुए भी you won't be attached to the thought. So this is a litmus test, these 3 points, and you will see this transition happening yourself. So Karma Yoga is not very simple. There are a lot of rules in Karma Yoga which have to be followed in order to make our karma a yoga. Otherwise, karma बंधन हो जाता है. कर्म को योग बनाना इतना सरल नहीं है. Many people say, I'm a karma yogi. Kaise? These 3 verses are again telling us what we have to stay away from when we are entering the part of Karma Yoga. This is it for now, today. Anything else that you want to add? We'll go into it a little more before we move into the next verses. But this is simply what it is saying. Any thought, any input, anything that anybody wants to add or ask? Anything that has come to your mind? There is one more beautiful example. He is saying, every verse has different bhavs, okay? एक तो होता है as it is what you are taking, right? एक होती है विशेष बात, है ना? एक होता है परिष्ठित भाव. So different bhavs are there. So इसमें एक है, just think a little deeper, they are saying. If a fish is caught in the net, can she swim further? A fish which is caught in the net, Ram Sukdas ji is saying कि जल में फंसी हुई मछली आगे नहीं बढ़ सकती. ऐसे ही भोग और संग्रह में फंसा हुआ मनुष्य, फंसे हुए मनुष्य की दृष्टि परमात्मा की तरफ बढ़ ही नहीं सकती. If the fish is caught in the net, what is the net? Kamna, Bhog, Aishwarya, right? Swarg, that we talked about. Can that fish move forward? Can she break the net and go? No. So in the same way, a person who is so involved in Bhog, that is, fulfilling his desires and hoarding, sangrah, मुझे ये भी चाहिए, बाद के लिए ये रख लेते, बच्चों के लिए ये रख लेते, वो परमात्मा की तरफ मुड़ ही नहीं सकता. Well, it's very simple. And that is the scary bit. That is the scary bit. भोग और संग्रह से हम ऊपर कैसे उठे, राइट? और पता है, the thought that came to my mind was, हम संग्रह क्यों करते हैं? चलो भोग छोड़ भी दें, राइट? पर्सनली हम संग्रह क्यों करते हैं? संग्रह, that is when we are hoarding, when we are saving, when we are putting it into our bank, for the future, for my children. Why? Because we do not have faith in the Lord. We feel कि He has given us birth, but He is not capable of taking care of us. And ये जो साधु वगैरह होते हैं ना, not that we all have to become sadhus, right? Because what happened was, when the karma kand was refuted, right? And when everybody was said, no, sannyas, तो बौद्ध धर्म आया था, right? What happened was also not good. That is not the intention of our scriptures at all. Because there they used to talk about only moksha, right? That is not. We have a transition. In our Vedas also we have a transition. Which graha ashram has to use. It's a very, very, very systematically put thing. So we are not saying we have to go towards that. But it is very important that we have faith in the Lord, so that we are not hoarding beyond our needs. We are not saying leave everything, but unnecessarily, if your objective is Paramatma ki prapti, if your objective is, because these three verses have made it very clear, there is no compulsion. The Veds are equally for a bhogi, the Veds are equally there for a yogi. You can get whatever you want. Our scriptures are very, very liberal. Whatever you want to eat is your choice. There are 3 types of ahar: satvik ahar, rajsik ahar, tamsik ahar. Now what is your objective? You eat accordingly. Right? They are not telling you. They have given you various paths. Over here also they are saying this is what Veds offer. You decide what you want to take. You want to fulfill your kamna, you want to fulfill your swargicha, you want to fulfill your bhogicha, you want to fulfill and get aishwarya, it's your choice. Or you want to get Paramatma. But if that is the objective, that I want to have Paramatma Prati, a fish which is stuck in the net of all these 4 things cannot move towards Paramatma. Where there is Bhog and Sangreh, Paramatma cannot be there. I don't know about all of you, but it makes us think, right, about our existence. And I feel sometimes, if we are doing all this, we are reading the scriptures, then we are being hypocrites. See, ignorance is bliss. Till there is ignorance, आप जो भी कर रहे हो, it is forgivable. But once you know, once you believe, once you accept, and then still this is happening, फिर तो क्या है ना? Very difficult.
Hariom Barkaji. Here, the thing is, maybe again we will be closed into that Maya, because we will be realizing, and then again we will come back to the same Maya, and we will be going back to the things and all, right?
It happens, isn't it?
Here, basically, the moral I have taken is God has provided us both ways. It is our choice to take which way we want to go. Yeah.
Very true.
He was like He has also given us the liberty to uplift our existence, and at the same time, He has given us the choice to go to the books. But whichever way we go, it is completely our choice.
Yes.
And again, as you are saying, it will be like again we will be into the Maya. If it is like Palicha also, if we are praying, I was just continuously getting in my mind the thing. Like when we are also playing the Hanuman Chalisa. So the last one is Tulsidas. What was that one? Tulsidas sada hari chera, he will
कीजे नाथ हृदय महडेरा.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like here the palicha is to go into the God,
Yes.
and again the other palichas is for our worldly materialistic
Yes.
anxieties and all. So for that one, we will be so into that, we will be like praying it continuously, we will be so agitated, anxious and all. But when we are doing for just like God, for the realization, there is a lot of peace of mind in our internal that vibration, whatever it is, just like normally we will be sitting and we will be just praying and all. But if it is like for particular
Desire.
thing we want, desire, that is like different palicha, we will be so specific to read that palicha that it
Yes.
will not go anywhere wrong.
Anywhere wrong. And that is what in the previous verse also they said, na, जब फल इच्छा के साथ करते हो तो then the results can be disastrous also. They are building it slowly. So what you are saying is जब प्रभु प्राप्ति के लिए करते हैं then we are very calm. So over here the same thing here says, दूसरों को सुखी देखकर प्रसन्न होने से उसमें भोग की इच्छा नहीं रहती. The minute we expand our existence beyond our bodily connections, right? As you said, when there is no ichha, when you're just praying for the sake of God, or when you're praying for something else, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, and you're praying for all the other things, then slowly that sangrah, bhog will go away. So we have to have a goal which is beyond our blood connections maybe, right?
So here morning also I was just listening
Huh.
to some podcast. So here they were saying that it also came to that like when we pray for our bhog, it's like a mind spray, and when we pray for the yoga, it's the God's spray, they were saying.
Yes.
So it's like the two kinds of prayers also we will be like that.
The same prayer can be done in both way, right?
Yeah.
Very true. It's a beautiful point. And ऐसा नहीं है. See, there are two things, right? Before we close, Shreyas and prayers. Would you like to put any other point? God's spray and
Yeah. The God spray and the mind spray.
mind spray. See, right?
Mind we will be like continuous. We want this, but not like God. Whatever you give, I will take. It is not that pray.
Yes.
So it is not the God's spray.
God's spray. And you know what is it? There are two things, Shreyas and prayers, right? Shreyas is what? Which is the superior path, right? Prayers is the pleasing path, which is giving me current pleasure, right? That mind spray and the God spray. God spray is the Shreyas. That is the superior path. In the heart we know. We all know, right? But we are getting diverted away from that superior path. Why? Prayers. Current pleasures, current benefits, current attachments. So we know this is a Shresht path, this is a superior path. But we end up taking the pleasurable path. It is a dilemma we all face. So, but at the same time, always be careful. See, whenever all these things are coming forward because of a reason, maybe at that time, and many a times people will tell us कि तुम्हारे उस ग्रंथों में तो ये लिखा हुआ है. This is why you do karma kand. No. It is a choice we are given. They are so powerful that they can make whatever we want happen. They are not meant for that. See, we are, everybody, all of us, whoever, इसी कहते हैं ना कि if you want your dharma to flourish, behave in a particular manner, we bring people to look down on us. Suppose we say हम लक्ष्मी पूजा क्यों करते हैं? For wealth and prosperity. Really? That is not the objective of Lakshmi Puja, right? So if we get messed up like this, so Krishna is also laughing, na? At who is he laughing? He's laughing at people like us. Ki look at them, aviveki manushya, he calls us, So, and unfortunately, when we go and we present these things to the world will also laugh at us only, na? कि तुम्हारे वेदों में तो कर्मकांड है. कर्मकांड बुरा नहीं है, right? कर्मकांड बुरा नहीं है, rituals बुरे नहीं है. But if we make them the end and not reach the means through them, तब बुरा हो गया. And these three verses are very important for all seekers. Very, very important. A reminder when we are sitting for prayers, how should we be? What should be our mental disposition? The minute you realize ki, Are, I am praying for something, stop. It will keep happening because we're conditioned like that. Stop. No. If I'm asking something, I will stop right now. Today morning, somebody shared a very beautiful thing. A child would go to the temple and she would pray. A very small little child. She was around 4 years or 5 years old. And then and the Pandit was watching. She'll utter these words and she'll run away. Utter these words. And the Pandit thought she might not be knowing much. She's too small to know mantras, shlokas or anything. Let me ask her what she's doing. Right? So the Pandit asked her, little girl, what do you speak in front of the Lord every time you come? You come every day and you're worshipping Him. What are you saying? She said, I just know A, B, C, D till Z. Right? So I say A, B, C, D till Z 5 times. And I tell God, see, all the alphabets are here. You can arrange them as per your wish, whatever you like. Courage चाहिए उसके लिए. जिस दिन we are able to do that ना, हम संग्रह नहीं करेंगे. Because we will have faith. Our faith is shaky. Our belief is shaky. Just imagine. These are 5 times ABCD. All the alphabets are there. Arrange it as per your wish. Whatever you want, arrange it. Prayers. Beautiful, isn't it? And that is the path which is Shreyas. This is the beauty. And that is why we took it very slowly. It was a little slow today because kahin pe bhi we should not demean our scriptures. Veds are very important. They are the core of our existence. Do you know in Sanatan Dharma, who is called a Astik and who is called a Nastik? It is not the believer or the non-believer of God who is called a Astik or a Nastik. A believer of the Veds is called a Astik and a non-believer of the Veds is called a Nastik. तो इतना बड़ा ridicule वेद का गीता में हो ही नहीं सकता. Be very careful, that's why. That is why we took it one by one. Because when in Sanatan Dharma, it's simple. We also have Astiks and Nastiks. We feel a Nastik is a person who does not believe God. No. A person who believes the Veds can be a Astik. He does not have to be a Nastik. But a person who does not approve of the Veds is definitely a Nastik as per Sanatan Dharma. Because Veds can also be divided. There are different ways people reach the Veds also, right? Further division. Again, there are, Advait, Dvait, this, that, lots of, even a person who does not believe in God can be Astik provided he believes in the Veds. So as per Sanatan Dharma, Astik and Nastik is based on whether we believe the Veds or not. So here we were talking about the Veds. So nowhere is any ridicule meant for them. So these 3 verses has to be very carefully understood and talked about. Otherwise, वो होते ना अर्थ का अनर्थ हो जाएगा. And we will end up ridiculing the very basis of our dharma. Never do that. See, Upanishads come out of the Veds only. Karma Kand comes out of the Ved only. Everything comes out of that, and all the Bhagavad and all are made easy for us to understand, right? So that is the core. Nowhere is there meant any ridicule for our Veds over here in our Gita. That is why we have to understand who wrote the Gita, who wrote Bhagavad, who is writing over here, who thought the Veds were so important. That is why we talked about Ved Vyasji. He knew the importance of the Ved, isn't it? That is why he segregated it and made it available. अगर उनको ridicule करना होता, तो वो नहीं करते ना. So that is why whenever we read a verse, before jumping into any conclusion about what it is saying, a lot of thought has to go into it. Because if the minute you feel ki nahi, this is saying something negative, no, none of our scriptures will ever say anything negative. The minute it seems like that, stop. So this is why we took it very slowly today, and we have to internalize this. So this is verse 42, 43 and 44. If there is anything left, we will pick it up and then we'll move on to verse number 45. And all this is in an effort to understand what Karma Yoga is. Let's not forget why we are reading all this. We are reading all this to understand what Karma Yoga is. Right now the emphasis is on Karma Yoga. So they are all telling us how to do Karma Yoga. Thank you, Krishna ji, for the input. Any other inputs? Nahi? Then we'll close the session. And lots of respect to our Veds. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Ram Lakshman Janaki Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Jai Bolo Hanuman ki. Bolo Bajrang Bali ki jai. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Hanuman. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna.